Hello and welcome to Stringer Podcast number... Great fucking question. I should probably know this. 22. There we go. It's written down for me. Welcome to Stringer Podcast number 22 featuring Tyson Geick. You give me a couple weeks off where I get to kind of recharge my batteries and everything leaves my brain. I don't even know what number podcast we're on anymore. Tyson, funny enough, fellow Newmarket native. That's right. You get an hour of two guys from Newmarket talking shop, a little bit of sports, and kind of laughing and chuckling along. It's a good time. At TysonLW on Instagram, at TysonLW on Twitter, or you can reverse that if you want, at TysonLW on Twitter, and at TysonLW on Instagram. You can find him with the National Lacrosse League. He does a whole whack of their digital content for them. He's done stuff for Rogers. We've known each other, I think, for 3 or 4 years. It feels like I'm really going to the well on all this people that Taylor Scholl introduced me to. That's where I met all these guys. They're all stinking amazing. But first, it's a long weekend coming up. If I wasn't, already in vacation mode, I would probably come up with 4 things to do. I wish I thought of this ahead of time. But it's the Stringer Big Weekend. 3 big things on the docket for you. First off, Friday night, Tastemaker Toronto at Evergreen Brickworks, bringing together a curated selection of Toronto's finest chefs, restaurants, and artisans. Tastemakers, the ultimate collaborative showcase of the city's very best food and drink. We'll see about that. I'm going to have to put them to the test. Taste your way around a truly immersive food hall set in Evergreen Brickworks, where renowned chefs like Rob Gentile, Michael Hunter, and Patrick Chris collaborate to produce unique one-off menus. If I have mispronounced any of their names, I'm really sorry. Someone please yell at me. Get your all-inclusive ticket for just... That's right, food and drink, $60. Friday night, Evergreen Brickworks. Saturday, that's right, it's Seat Giant Day, WBC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Now listen, I've always wanted to do this. In the blue corner, you have Stevenson, who already made a title defense at Ricoh Coliseum in Toronto in 2015. But this one promises to be a bigger fight because in the red corner, I don't know if that's the color of their shorts, we've got Jack. Jack's 22, 1-2, a Swedish former 2-time world champion who fights for Mayweather Promotions out of Las Vegas. Do you want to know how to get tickets? It's quite simple. Go to seatgiant.ca, search around, find your tickets to the event at Air Canada Centre, and just use promo code STRINGER. Just that easy. Type it in. Promo code STRINGER, and you will get a discount off your sweet, sweet tickets. And know what? It doesn't just work on this event. It doesn't just work in Toronto. Look up all your favorite events as you're touring around, whether it is music, whether it is festivals, whether it's maybe just cool stuff happening around the city. And get your tickets. Use promo code STRINGER, and you can get money off your purchase. Sunday, Victoria Day weekend fireworks at Canada's Wonderland. On select dates through the 2018 season, Canada's Wonderland will present its spectacular fireworks display at 10 p.m. You can spend your whole day enjoying over 70 awesome rides that make Clayton vomit, including our newest rides, Lumberjack, totally Canadian, and flying canoes. That makes it even better. Then round out your day with an action-packed fireworks display over Wonder Mountain. Come celebrate Victoria Day weekend with some of the best fireworks in the Toronto area. This show is a unique design with an original soundtrack and over 6,000 colorful explosions. You won't want to miss it. That's what you're doing Sunday night. You're heading to Wonderland. Catch me there. I'm going to go, twirl around a bunch of times, spend a little bit of time, recovering in the ER or whatever the heck they call it there, and then I'll be ready to go for the fireworks. But between now and Sunday, you've got to listen to Tyson Geick. You've got to listen to our chat. It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to stand in your way any longer. Stringer Podcast number 22, featuring Tyson Geick. Cue the sax. I just empty my hamper on the floor. Yeah. And then I'm
Sort pile?
It's kind of sort.
Yeah.
But I'm always socks and underwear in one pile.
Yeah.
Generally because I need them most.
Okay.
But
yeah.
it's
that's the must, right?
Yeah. When I'm at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I don't care about what pants I'm wearing. It's generally like I'm out of clean underwear and socks. Yeah. And so that's like the first thing I gotta do.
I feel you on that one.
Which, why don't I just buy like a shit ton more is the real question.
I have my go-to Calvin Klein underwear, and I have like 80 pairs of them. Yeah, it's a good idea. So smart. Yeah,
we're kind of. It's a soft start. So we're kind of going. Like, we're gonna start talking about laundry, and then I'm just gonna ease you into talking about work. And then you know that people are probably listening to what you're saying.
Would that have picked up that whole conversation?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, okay. We'll see. Do you want anything edited out?
No.
Like, I don't know, kind of dangerous stuff talking about.
No, people can know that I like
Calvin Klein underwear. Under Armour
socks are great. Have some pairs of those.
And you know what? Making sure pairs together is key. Yesterday was laundry day.
It frustrates me to no end. So
now, do you, when you're folding your laundry, or if you fold your laundry, because I still really am, I just had a birthday and I still don't really fold my laundry. Do you fold your socks together or no?
Yes.
Oh, frick.
I have to fold my socks together.
That's why pairs are so...
When you're on the go, you get the pair, and then you're like...
Oh, I just stack them. I just stack singles on top of each other. Like they're like $5 bills. And then I'm like, I need $10, so I grab two. Or I need $20, so I grab four.
Okay.
Why did I compare it to $5 bills? I don't stack $5 bills, but I wish I did. But that's how my socks are all singles in my drawer.
Okay.
Because I think...
That's a cool method.
I think it's flatter. I think that's what it like.
I think so. It would look more together than mine, which is just a whole bunch of pairs and balls thrown together.
Now, are they full balls? Do you tuck it all the way in, or do you just like curl the top?
There's a little bit of
dangly
there. But for the most part,
tendrils.
It's not like ankle socks, right? So then it's just smaller. There's less of a dangly.
Now, is there ankle socks? No ankle socks with dress shoes?
No, not with dress shoes.
No. You got full on banana socks today.
Banana socks, yeah. Woo. You got to go with the flashy.
So because podcasts apparently are an audio only thing, I feel inclined to describe to everyone that Tyson walked into our office today in a fucking wicked suit and a great crisp dress shirt and dress shoes, and I am wearing, I think, what I picked up off the floor from when I threw there within the last 3 or 4 days or something.
That's the beauty of a podcast, right? You could just say that you're wearing a suit that's 20 times better than mine and more crisp.
I can't lie. Okay. You would know I'm lying.
I would
expect you to call me out. Okay. How's it going, bud?
Good.
It's been a minute.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know when we've seen each other last.
For sure. Would it be a SMG meetup maybe?
Or I think I ran into you at Grace O'Malley's.
Could have been Grace O'Malley.
I think we ran into each other at Gracie's once.
Yeah.
And then Taylor Schold, obviously, he's actually a hot topic. I feel like I've been talking about that guy nonstop.
Yeah, with Valente in here earlier.
Yeah. Valente, he and I chatted. But yeah, how's it going?
It's good.
Yeah?
It's good. Yeah, I mean... I finally landed a full-time gig in the industry, which is nice and kind of refreshing. And it just so happens to be with the National Lacrosse League that I grew up watching, and I grew up playing the sport of lacrosse. And
did you really?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you kind of take me as a John Tavares type, actually.
Do I?
Yeah, a little bit.
I didn't have the talent that guy had, let me tell you. I was more of a stay-at-home D-man, rock-solid hands. Scored like 2 goals in my career, but I played against a lot of the guys in the league, and I've been around them, so it's really cool now to see them, all playing in the league and feel like one of those kind of retired, hockey broadcasters who.
Here,
Tyson
son, come into my office. Let me tell you a story or two.
Yeah, not quite like that, but it's good to be involved and to know a lot of the guys and to pull the Pierre Maguire and be like, well, this guy played junior with this organization. And I like that element of it. It's cool.
Definitely. And just knowing like knowledge of the system, like the grassroots system, I guess, knowing how because I have knowledge in hockey and how you kind of develop from, a tyke all the way up, but 100% with your background, because I know you can instruct me. How do you get into the NLL? Like, where would I have to start? Because I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I mean, a lot of ways. The number one would be box lacrosse in Ontario Junior A Lacrosse or BC Junior A Lacrosse. And Alberta has a growing program that's taken some serious steps over the course of the past, I want to say 10 years. They've really come a long way. So those are the 3 major junior leagues that, you
feed into.
Yeah. And then a lot of these guys who are playing junior lacrosse also play NCAA lacrosse down in the U.S. So they'll finish their time at school if they go the NCAA route, and then they'll get drafted to the league because you can't get drafted until you say I'm done in the NCAA. So normally you spend your 4 years there, and then it's on to the NLL. Or if the guys don't, go down to the NCAA, they can get drafted and go right to the NLL. So it's you look at Ontario Junior A, BC Junior A, and Alberta Junior A as if they're like the
OHL,
the OHL, the
WHL,
CHL,
CHL,
right.
Canadian Hockey League.
Yeah.
I just got this is why I know you're going to get it right. Just got finished a series called Canadian Trivia with a bunch of NBA players from across the NBA, and this is one of the questions we asked them. Obviously one of Canada's national sports is hockey. Clearly, just come on, go to any major city, you'll see jerseys and flags everywhere. Is the other national sport A, lacrosse, B, curling, or C, bobsledding?
I would say it's lacrosse.
It's lacrosse,
even ahead of hockey.
100. It's crazy, right?
Technically,
it was the national sport.
Yeah,
and then hockey got to come in as like the other national sport.
Yeah,
but it was lacrosse first, which I don't know the history there. You should know. I'm just going to sit here and ask you questions the whole time, and you can teach me.
Well, they call it the creator's game or the medicine game, and the natives played it way back when, and it was a way to heal and to go and kind of almost forget about your problems. So it wasn't about war, which you might think, two teams going to battle
with sticks.
It was to heal and kind of like leave it out on the turf and go out there and have fun. And it's amazing to see the native players that we have in the league and to hear them talk about it. And it really is inspiring, just how how close it is to the hearts of so many of them. When they're born, they get a lacrosse stick right away.
Wow.
And then when they die, they're buried with a lacrosse stick. So it's absolutely incredible. And, to get to know some of these guys is really cool, but it goes back, hundreds of years, and it's just so important to so many native communities out there. But it's really cool when they get to share that with you.
Can I tell you my one lacrosse story?
Hit me with it.
It's gonna kind of counteract the whole going to war thing, but I think it was Toronto versus Buffalo. It was a barn burner, because I think in the opening 4 minutes, half the teams were in the penalty box.
That was it.
Like, it just went. I should find highlights actually for you and post them for everyone to see. But I had never experienced anything like it in my life, and I think the first 3 minutes took 40 minutes of actual time.
Okay.
Because everything turned into a sideshow, and then actually the whole game settled down.
Yeah.
After that, but I guess there was. I don't know the history of rivalries, but there was some bad blood.
And they have a great rivalry. It's incredible between those two teams. So that would be
maybe
the reason.
Maybe it was. Or now Rochester is a team, don't they?
Rochester's one of the older teams in the NLL as well.
See, now I'm worried it's Rochester.
Yeah.
Tyson,
Could have been
we
Rochester.
might actually just end it here, and we'll start anew.
Okay.
And we can just start a whole new podcast over again.
Sure.
One where Clayton doesn't get everything he says wrong.
Okay. What are we leading off with today? Undershirts?
Totally undershirts.
Who has the best undershirts?
and who does have? I'm probably gonna have to go with Under Armour again. I think.
Probably. I'm a New Balance guy.
Oh, you're a New Balance guy. Okay,
that's fair. A lot
fair.
of New Balance gear. They both Under Armour and New Balance sponsor our league. So
amazing.
We get taken care of with some gear, and I'm a big fan of the New Balance.
New Balance helps you out. You are bragging.
See what I can do.
You are bragging pretty hard about it.
Send a couple messages.
We are close to the playoffs, and that's why I was like, when I reached out, I'm like, listen, Tyson, I would love to have you in, but can we do it a little bit closer to playoffs?
Yep.
Because the NHL playoffs are about to kick off, depending on when you're listening to this. Now, what's the playoff structure for lacrosse? I swear, we're going to get away from the instructional video stuff eventually.
Yep.
But I'm just genuinely curious.
In the East Division, we've got 5 teams.
Okay.
In the West Division, we've got 4. So East Division, you have 3 teams making the postseason. The first overall team in the East gets a bye. The next 2 play a single game elimination.
Oh boy, one and done.
Yeah, one and done, and then they're out, and then they move on and they play once again a single elimination in the division finals, and then they move on. And then from the West Division, out of those 4 teams, 3 make it in similar structure where one gets the bye. The next 2 teams duke it out, single game elimination, they move on. And
is the championship game one and done?
It's not. That's 2 out of 3 in the finals. So it makes for last year was unbelievable, the finish to that game. So Georgia was up on Saskatchewan They won game 1. They went to Saskatchewan, and that barn is, fans
Crazy.
out in Sask.
Yeah,
They're wild. They're just rabid. That barn was so
They'll grab
loud.
onto anything like professional, semi-professional, bunch of guys just playing beer league hockey. They'll all show up anyway just to cheer.
It was so loud. I was at ground level, and Sask was up by a goal with a minute to go. And in lacrosse, interesting strategy, but the goaltender was pulled to have possession and get another man on the floor just to kill the clock. They turned it over. Georgia goes down. They score. They tie it up, force overtime with seconds to go, and then they won in overtime. And the jaws were just on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, it was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever
would
been to.
they?
No bias.
So if Saskatchewan did win, would they go back to Georgia for Game 3, or would Game 3 be played in Saskatchewan?
They would go back to Georgia.
That's a lot of travel.
It is a lot of travel.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. It's a little bit more spread out, so it'll be kind of on weekends and whatnot. So you get like one weekend. So you have time to heal and practice and go through strategies and stuff like that. It's kind of NFL-ish in that sense.
I was going to ask, is the regular season schedule quite similar?
Some teams have back-to-backs, but we do like week 1, week 2, week 3, and we break it down that way. And
which the more I understand about more leagues and more sports, I really think the basketball and the NHL systems could benefit from maybe a few less games in a week or in a season, just because I see how much treatment guys have to undergo and go through. You look at the NFL system or any of the soccer systems, how now granted they play a lot more minutes in a night than your average NBA or NHLer, but they get to be at their peak performance for longer, where you don't get so many of those guys playing injured situations where it really hurts a team for 6 games because he's got a bruised heel or whatever for 2 weeks.
I think you're right, and I would make
Saturdays?
the argument for the NBA for sure, because if you got a team like, say, the Cavs, they just get into the postseason and they take maybe like a 7th, 8th seed and they just kind of squeak their way in. And then they're like, okay, boys, let's turn it on. The best team always wins. The team with the most talent. I'm sure there's a couple of instances when it's been a little bit different.
March Madness. Like what happened this year in the NCAA tournament. But that's
a one and done, right?
True. Very, very true.
Scenario too.
Very,
Whereas
very
you got
true.
a 7-game series, the best team's going to come out on top. That's why it's tough to bet on the NBA.
So you bring up the Cavaliers. Are you a basketball fan?
A little bit. I'll follow it. I'm behind the Raptors for sure. I do not like LeBron James.
Interesting.
I can't stand the guy.
Okay, did you like Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah. I wasn't a Wayne Gretzky fanatic or anything, but
Tom Brady?
I appreciate him. I don't like Brady.
Oh, you don't like Brady.
No.
And you don't like LeBron. Kobe?
I like Steph Curry.
Oh, I like Steph.
Yeah.
Now it's his demeanor, though, right?
Yes, it is.
Because
Kobe is too much of a hothead for me, too.
Steph kind of goes about his business. He knows he's good. Let's not fool. He knows he's good.
That's my kind of guy.
But he's not so braggadocious about it.
Right.
He doesn't have to go and splatter it everywhere and make sure everyone realizes that the God's in the house.
LeBron was good in Trainwreck. I'll give him that. He was decent in his acting debut. So
I was really impressed, actually. And before I saw it, someone said, they're like, LeBron James is in it, but he's not a typical athlete. He's pretty good. And I was like,
he did a good job.
He was great. He was fun.
I'll give credit where credit's due.
I like his scenes.
But I don't like the whole, I'd vote for me as MVP and whatnot. Not for me. Not for me.
Of course you would. Come on, I'd vote for me as MVP too, but
I know
I'm not
he
going
was
to
kind
tell
of
you.
asked the question, so it's tough to kind of give him shit for it. But still.
What I loved that you did, so let's go back a little bit. Before you became a massive star in NHL.
I wouldn't go that
and
far.
Lighting up my
No.
computer screen. I think I have a tab open all the time.
Do you?
On NLL. They have a name for their video stuff, don't they?
NLL TV?
TV, yeah. Clay. Just swinging and swinging and missing.
We're a team.
That's right.
I got you.
The NHL Flash stuff you did.
Yeah.
And see, you're good people, and you're people I like to be around because I'm so on board with someone looking at what's in front of them and what they can do. And instead of waiting for someone to be like, oh, you're allowed, you're permitted to go do this, saying like, dang it, I have a camera. I have the ability to do something. I just need to turn that switch on inside of me and just go do it.
Yeah.
Where were you at when you started the first? You could describe what the NHL Flash stuff was.
What's funny because
I know what it was. That's why I moved on to the conversation.
TV is very similar to the NHL Flash, so it's kind of funny how
really,
I'm doing stuff. I mean, I'm just producing digital content, right?
Right.
And a lot of what I learned doing it myself with the NHL Flash, I'm now doing with the NLL, and I've just gotten better as the years have gone along. But I got to a point where I was kind of frustrated. I wasn't getting many breaks, and I had a really good opportunity and a big chance with, after the VJ search ended with Much Music, everything just kind of went dry after that.
Yeah.
And I was so close, like right till the end, and then everything just dropped off. And I couldn't catch a break. I was looking to volunteer with Rogers stations and just get reps and stuff like that. And I wasn't even getting calls back from producers. And I'm like, I don't know what I need to do here. So I like you said, took matters into my own hands, and I got a camera and taught myself how to do some editing. And I think I'm pretty decent at writing and putting together creative content. And I've always had a bit of an eye for it. So I built the social media following first in order to be able to market my own content that I would later be producing. And it all just kind of came together. And it was pretty cool. I went down to the draft. I paid my own way, but I went down to Connor McDavid's draft in Florida, and I had my own name and company name on my press pass, and I'm standing in line waiting for my press pass beside Roberto Luongo, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And it was cool to be on that draft floor. I got goosebumps talking about it right now, and that was something that I'll always look back on and say, I did that. Like I created it, and it wasn't really because of anyone else. And it was neat.
It's funny. You were kind of almost shy to say that you paid your own way, as if I think it's bigger that you paid your own way.
Yeah.
You had your company name. It was you. You were there on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
You're not there because someone gave me a handshake in a hotel room, right,
sure.
and sent me down, all expenses paid.
Yeah.
It's bigger when you know that I've got to put money on the line,
right,
in order to make this happen. I've got to risk something in order to get the reward.
Well, that was it. I paid for my own camera equipment, and that put me back a couple $1,000s. And then,
you mean it's not cheap?
No.
You mean
you know?
No word of a lie. I was sitting in my office earlier, and I got an email from a repair shop my cameras is in, saying that Sony's suggestion is that it's not repairable. I was like, come on, man. So it's not like it's not cheap.
No,
it's not easy.
You have to be planning ahead too. And that all set me back a little bit. And then I did pay my own way, and I'm not making money doing anything here, right? Like I had to pay for the website domain and all that stuff. And to get down there, it was just kind of for the experience and to see what it was like. And I learned a lot from it and taught myself that I could do it. And it's tough when you're putting up the money for your flight and Airbnb. And I had a couple. I had Alex Frazo, if you know Fraz.
I do know Fraz.
So Fraz came down. He did some videography for me, and
I had no idea you guys worked together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back then, he was a big help with the NHL Flash and really eager and helpful. With
He's
everything.
such a good dude.
He is.
Like heart of gold.
Yeah.
He bailed me out of. It was MLS Championship, MLS Cup, and there's this massive mix-up, and my whole crew, I had my credential, my whole crew, everyone ended up getting rejected.
Yeah.
But Alex was there for the ENG news style stuff, and in a heartbeat, he was like, I've never used this camera before, but if you need help, I'll jump in and I'll help. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just give me a quick once-over. So I legit gave him a once-over on a camera that he's never touched anything like it, shooting in a way he's never really shot before, the whole doc style stuff. And the dude, he just stepped up to the plate.
Wow.
He just stepped up to the plate, no hesitation.
I did my Leafs host audition tape with him, and he was like, yeah, come, let's do this. And took an afternoon and went out to Tecumseh, I think, New Tecumseh. And we filmed out there, and he put a great product together, and was a big reason that video turned out as well as it did.
You brought up the Leafs search, the in-game search.
Yeah.
And this is on the heels of us just talking about the Much Music VJ search. Coming in second is no fun.
No.
You almost almost want to be cut off the top. Yeah. Because you get so far into it, and you did it both, and you had, I know you had my vote of confidence for the Leaf search to bring something new to the Air Canada Centre, really, and kind of switch up the vibe in there.
Yeah.
But I think what it also does, as frustrating as it might be, it's got to build some sort of fight in you.
Oh.
Right? Because you're like, well, if you ain't going to do it, then he's going to do it. You're not going to do it either, then you're not going to do it. Fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. You learn pretty quick. You do have to take matters in your own hands and go out there and create your own destiny, if you will, not to be too cliche about it. But
no, not at all. But you kind of, it's on our backs.
That was a tough pill to swallow, and getting so close to both the VJ search and the Leafs host position. I honestly thought I had that. Like I thought I had it in the bag, and maybe I got too far ahead of myself, but I put together a great audition tape. I think both my auditions went really well. I felt confident about my interview with Brendan Shanahan and the gang there at the ACC, and obviously they were looking for something a little bit different, and this is not to take away from Scotty at all, because
not at all.
He's doing a great job there, and he is doing something different himself.
Yeah.
So I like what he's done, and I bumped into him a couple weeks ago. He's like, you posted a picture, so I went to a Leafs game, and I like to stir the pot a little bit. Right? That's just me. So I go to a Leaf game a couple weeks after the decision was made, and the season had started, and they're playing the Edmonton Oilers, and I just so happen to be an Edmonton Oilers fan too. I have family out there, so I grew up watching them.
Connor McDavid draft. I'm starting to put the pieces together here.
He's a Newmarket boy, right?
He is. Hey, he is a Newmarket boy.
We got that connection. So I wore my Edmonton Oilers jersey to the game that day. The Leafs actually won, but I took a picture with it and I put it up online, and I hashtagged the Edmonton Oilers are great again. So I was I was having some fun being cheeky, and I think maybe they saw it as like, this guy's.
Oh, no, he's pissed.
Right. So Scotty and I talked about that. He's like, was that directed at me? Like, were you mad at me? He's like, no, dude, I'm just having some fun out there. Like,
I'm trying to get some likes and retweets here by being funny. I want some personality, Scotty.
I was having some fun with it, and who knows? Maybe I'll end up working for the Oilers.
Let's hope. That'd be a fun gig. I know you have family there. I don't know if I want to live there.
You know what?
It's a place I want to visit.
I was with a friend of mine last night who lived out there, and he said people from Edmonton are the greatest people that he's encountered from across Canada. And I hear that about people from the East Coast quite often. That they're great too, salt of the earth, and I have a lot of friends from there. But and he knows them too. That was a surprise to me.
Someone once gave me a neat little tidbit, which I don't think is factual, but it's fun to run with. That when people live in an area where the climate, like the earth, is willing to kill you, right? Giant waves and snowstorms on the East Coast. Freezing frickin' tundra in Edmonton. When you live in an area where the earth is out to get you, you end up being a pretty sweet person because you appreciate things a lot more.
Glass is always half full for them, right?
Glass is always half. Not saying the people in California aren't nice, but you kind of have a reputation.
True.
Right? They got a bit of a reputation.
They got their own things to deal with in California too.
Earthquakes and forest fires.
Yeah.
The earth is just it's trying to clean house.
I think so.
It's like you guys have done
falling ice here.
Right? Toronto under like a wild ice storm.
You can't go to a Jays game without looking up.
Did you see how that all played out on Twitter? Did you? So the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
I don't know if a couple other games in MLB had been canceled or postponed. Yeah. They tried to be funny. They tried to be cheeky, and they're like, because of today's inclement weather, today's Jays game is ... being played because we have a roof earlier in the day.
Yeah.
They were making fun that the weather doesn't stop them because they're so smart. And then the ice fell off the CN Tower, damaged the roof, and legit 3 hours later they'd put another tweet that said Toronto Safety Services or something, Fire Services, and Rogers Centre personnel are examining the damage. We'll have to update you on the status of tonight's game. And then later they'd put in another tweet saying tonight's game is being postponed. So it's like a trilogy of tweets where they literally screw themselves over because they're being cheeky.
They're getting all cocky, and then
and then,
we got this roof.
And then karma came and screwed them, slapped them right upside the back of the head. And that happened. But I always believe that we're always in for one big snowstorm in April. Like you
think so?
Usually we just had it.
Yeah.
Right. We just had it. Right. That was our big one. But generally, I think in years past, we get dumped on once in April.
Do we
no?
really?
You don't think so?
There was I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years back. There was a big one, but it's been a while.
Our birthdays are within a couple days of each other. I'm the 13th.
Okay,
and you're the
right. I'm the 15th.
The 15th.
Yes.
Dang it. I thought you were the 9th. Anyway, you're totally the 15th. I knew that coming in.
Yeah.
Clayton gets another fact wrong. So we're in a couple days. But you're telling me you've never had a birthday where you couldn't go play street hockey because it was friggin' freezing? That's Holland Landing boy right here. Like April 13th was my birthday. I 100% remember.
Maybe it just cleared up within those 2 days. I had great street hockey.
You're a sunshine child.
That's it.
Like it shits on Clay, but man, the sun will come out tomorrow for Tyson.
I can't remember. I mean, my memory's just hazy here, but I think we were playing road hockey. Growing up, there's the odd time, I'm sure, but
fact number 912.
Yeah,
wrong.
Hey, wait, I'm not saying I'm right.
If the president of the United States does not need to get his speeches fact checked, I don't need to get my podcast fact checked.
Bang,
I'm sticking to it.
That's it. He's setting a great example for us, right?
I'm gonna go back to the creating your own thing bit. I promise I was going to. I think the neat thing about having that in your back pocket, having done it, is not to limit your own ability.
Right.
You know that, man, when I just kind of knuckled down and did something, I was able to create whatever I wanted. And that was only with this much experience.
Yeah.
Now with this much, my arms are far apart, this much experience, right? If I just knuckle down again, then I can go back and create something if it ever came down to it. It gives you this confidence.
Absolutely it does. And I've done some video producing on the side for social media influencers and stuff that need some work done, and that's made me some money. So it's cool how that's come along and it's turned into a profitable endeavor, I guess you could say. But you know what? I should have stuck with the NHL Flash, and I've thought about coming back to it at times as well. I went to school in the States and I got my master's in broadcast journalism, and honestly, I kind of regret that decision.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And it's one of those things that maybe in 10 years, 20 years, I'll see the rewards of it and I'll appreciate it a little bit more. And I went down there. I didn't know a soul for the first time in my life going into a situation like that.
Where did you go to school?
Quinnipiac University in Connecticut.
In Connecticut, okay.
So it was close to Nesson. It was close to MSG, ESPN, NBC. And I was thinking, hey, if I go down there, I work hard, I get good grades, I'm one of the top of my class, I'll get noticed and get some opportunities with these networks or whatever it may
or
be.
something, or an affiliate or whatever.
Just end up down in the U.S. because opportunities are limited up here in Canada. And I got no assistance from the school, like very
interesting,
very, very, very little. And I had some great professors that were doing stuff in the industry, but I mean, even they weren't able to help out. And it just goes to show, I mean, you got to take matters in your own hands, right? So I wish I stayed on track with the NHL Flash. I let that kind of derail me, and I focused a little bit more on school as opposed to that project. But I could have saved the money that I put into school and put that towards the NHL Flash, and I think I would have been further ahead with that.
I'm going to pull old man card on you here.
Okay.
You ready?
That's cool.
And I'll tell you where I'm coming from. It's because I didn't go to school.
Yeah,
I didn't. I was, right out of high school, I went into the workforce, and I've been working ever since.
Yeah.
And when I decided to make the jump, when I was like mid-20s, and I believe that you've gone through this too,
right?
But I got turned away, not because there aren't jobs available or not. I never made the final two.
Right.
I wouldn't make the first cut because I never had anything on my resume.
Yeah.
Right? Where I would get rejection letters based upon we're asking for a minimum 3-year undergrad or whatever, and you don't meet these requirements. Thank you for submission.
Right. Yeah.
And that was hard because for me, in my head, I'm like, I'll work harder than anybody.
Yeah.
I believe I have talent.
Yeah.
I've been working in writing for ages. I just need someone to give me a shot here because I believe I can do it. And then to be told no because you didn't go to the school, like you didn't receive the schooling we said you should. Like, I'm not trying to be a lawyer or a doctor here. I'm not saving lives.
Well,
and that's what was tough for me.
In my experience, what I've seen is that some people, having not gone to school, are much more talented than those who do go to school and feel that. I mean, look what I did. I thought that maybe going down to school was going to get me those opportunities and help me get my foot in the door, whereas really I just need to go and do it myself.
Right.
Right. And I had my undergraduate degree, so that wasn't going to come up. And I find that being on camera, at least, there's a lot of people who they walk out a door one day and someone sees them like, I like your look.
You're the one.
Yeah.
It is a very subjective.
Yeah. Spend 1 year doing digital and all of a sudden you're on a national network.
It's so subjective. The whole industry is incredibly subjective.
It is. Yeah. And that gets frustrating at times.
Yeah.
You have to learn to just kind of keep going and keep the blinders on and stay focused on what you have to do to get forward. So
I did a little bit of theater work as I was growing up, but I have friends that actually did theater work. Like they went to school post-secondary for it at some great academies and schools around the GTA and across North America. And the one thing I learned from them is to make it there, it's a numbers game. Like you just have to go out to X amount of auditions, and X amount of auditions will turn into this many callbacks, and this many callbacks will turn into this many gigs, because you can walk in the room for your audition and they will know from the second you open the door that you're not the right person, because you look more 20. So my friend is female. She looks more, 27-year-old girl next door, and they need 34-year-old mother of one. Yeah. Which the faces can be like, and it's just this look that they perceive is the look, probably based on something they've seen in a movie or a commercial recently. Yeah. Right? That they're like, oh yeah, we need someone that looks like that person in the commercial that I saw, like holding Tide Pods or whatever. And right? Yeah. And it's so subjective, but they know if you just go out enough times, you'll get the right amount of callbacks, and this many callbacks will equal this many jobs. And it's obviously a greatly shrinking number, where it's like 100 auditions equals 8 callbacks or whatever. Yeah. But that it takes a certain kind of person just to be not knocked off like their center, like to be able to just keep going at the same energy level. That
takes time too, to develop that, to not get knocked off. You get stronger and stronger as it goes along, right? And I think that's what those auditions and callbacks teach you, is that, I've been to the end so many times, and hey, if I don't get it this time, life goes on, and it'll be for a reason, and you'll kind of find out what that reason is in the future. But you do have to realize that sometimes it has nothing to do with you.
No, and completely.
You could have the best audition of your entire life and go out there and crush it, but they could be looking for something different.
With brown eyes or no beard or whatever. Like, like the simplest thing that it's so, well, I guess beard's inside your control, but so wildly outside. They want you to have a different shape of beard. Your facial hair must go high to the eyes, but not down the neck.
If it's in Toronto, that makes sense with Lamorello, right? Now he's letting guys grow playoff beards. But
are they allowed?
They are.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, this season for the first time.
So... That's interesting.
Yeah, I like how Lou has control of the team, and it's a young team, so you have to kind of put your foot down and be an authoritative figure. I like that, and I've heard the story.
Shirts on game days.
That's
that's control.
Suits are mandatory anyways.
Yeah. But, I'm thinking my high school playing days. That's exactly. Collared shirts. That was me.
I heard a story that he was waiting down in the hotel lobby in Vegas when they were playing there, so none of the guys went out, and I like that. I think that's good. And if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you're stoked to hear that. These guys, we got a big game to play. They ended up losing that game to Vegas when they were down there, but
everyone lost to Vegas in Vegas. Pretty much.
Vegas flew.
Yeah, exactly.
4 straight, and each game decided by a goal against the Kings.
Wild, isn't it?
Yeah,
what a year
should I become a believer now? Because I wasn't for the longest time, and I think it might be the time to hop on board there.
I got to go down an interview. I wasn't conducting the interview, but we did the production. It was a Marc-Andre Fleury interview.
Okay.
And to hear the story, they talk on camera at length about the Las Vegas flu, or the Vegas flu, and what's been going on. But then to hear some of the tales come out off camera of just stuff that, not that he's been into, but he hears other teams getting into. Because it's, it's a party town. You have every distraction available to you. And if It's not just athletes. You can look, if you work at an office, look around you in the office. You're going to see a group of people that would rather stay home and read. You're going to see a group of people that would wait until after the big event and then go let loose. And then you know that one or two people in your office that's going to say, fuck it, I'm in Vegas. And they're going to go out the day before the big event and say, I'm just going to put up with whatever I feel like tomorrow because it's only one day.
That, and then the after too.
And then the after
so
too.
There's another one or two people.
Because right? I'm only completely. Yeah. There's gonna be a group there, and that's not, again, we're not picking on athletes here. It's
they have the money to do it. That's the problem, right? I can't do that. There's for me, I'm avoiding Vegas because I don't have the money to go and have a fun time there.
Vegas is not built for single males.
No.
Single, middle class males.
Yeah.
Because you can be like a sultan or an oil baron and have a great time, but we don't get in anywhere free and we get 0 drinks free, and then we got to pay everything out the backside.
If the NHL Flash starts to make me millions,
we're going to go to Vegas.
We're going to Vegas.
You know what we should do? We should restart the NHL Flash as soon as you wrap up your season, if Vegas is still going. We should go, or if not, we should go to preseason in Vegas. And just I'll bring a camera down.
Like things to do in Vegas, like top 10 things or whatever.
Top 10 things, like the shit you can get yourself into. Oh, the top 10 causes for the Vegas flu.
That's a good idea.
I think that's what we have to do. And we'll do like a one-off feature. We'll go down for 3 days or 4 days.
You got to get in touch with a guy like Paul Bissonnette, though. I think
he would know.
I'd host it, and then you'd have him on board, and he'd be explaining. I think he would know.
Is he still with, what was the clothing company?
He just got endorsed by New Balance today, actually, or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we got endorsed.
He recently. You start learning to speak in generalities, like upper body injury, lower body injury.
Yeah.
It's like, it came out recently in the news that a cold front came through Toronto and there was ice that damaged the... Right?
So, I just remembered now. Sauce Hockey.
Thank you.
That's who he was with, yes. And now he's on board with Barstool, like Spittin' Chicklets.
Oh, interesting.
So him and Ryan Whitney are solid. Those are two great personalities. They're a lot of fun.
I really liked Ryan Whitney.
Me too.
I didn't get the chance to interview him, but I was in close quarters with him about 4 years ago, and he was the life of the room.
Yeah.
You just have those people that take the spotlight really, really well,
right?
And then but make everyone feel like they're part of it, and everyone they're there. I'd love to do something. This is spinning into the thing. And if Bissonnette is at Barstool, I have a really good friend Julie
Sure, Banks,
that is 6 months into Barstool,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying she can pull some strings, but Julie, if you're listening, pull some strings. Come on.
That would be huge.
That'd be amazing.
Top 10 causes of the Vegas flu. And I think with Barstool, Biz can kind of say what he wants now, right? He was with the Coyotes. Him and Tyson Nash made some stuff happen there. It was awesome.
By stuff, do you mean good stuff? No.
Good stuff. They just had great chemistry on camera. They did this thing called Pillow Talk, which was hilarious. Where they tell each other stories in the hotel room when they're kind of on the road. It was funny. And Biz does his Bachelorette recaps and funny stuff.
Again, going with the idea that you can create your own image and if you're willing to put the work into something, the possibilities are endless. Don't say, oh, well, I'm an athlete and I'm only good at one thing.
Yeah.
If you want to try something, just frickin' try it. Put yourself out there. And you know what? Do more than 3, because it's really easy to start something and get discouraged. But do more than 3 and actually give it a shot.
You have to stay with it. I remember producing videos for the NHL Flash where, I'd do a video and I get a couple hundred views on it and it would get so discouraged. I go back now, it's got 10,000 to 20,000 views on it. So it's funny how it.
Ooh, those are those are legit numbers. But you bring up a good point that in the internet age, especially on YouTube, shit doesn't die.
No,
and you never know. Oh, you interviewed so and so, whoever was part of it or mentioned, or there's a clip of something funny that happened, and then his name gets brought up in the news 3 years later. And then the first thing everyone does is turn to Google and to YouTube to try and find clips.
Yep.
And boom, you become relevant again. We have to bring back this is today's mission. What we accomplish out of this conversation is NHL Flash has to come back.
I think so.
We got to do something with it. And you know what? It might be altered from what it was before. Like
I'm totally cool with that. And think of it, I was just a kid in my condo filming by myself, right? Having a team on hand makes the production value so much better.
It will have to be balanced out with your current responsibilities and stuff like that. But I think the Flash has to come back. NHL Flash has to come back.
I think you're right. I've been inspired to do that stuff. And what I wanted to do with the NHL Flash originally was bring out more personality and show the personality of the sport. Top 10 causes for the Vegas flu is spot on with what I'd want to do. Because it's not just talking about the X's and O's of hockey.
No.
Because who wants to hear that from me? You got great analysts on TSN and
that are all now former players. Like all the analyst gig is now filled with a former player.
So I can't go off and talk about who did this or how this play was wrong or whatever. I need to talk about funny things or
pop culture.
Yeah, exactly, pop culture. What's this guy listening to? That's what I wanted to do. What's he listening to? What gets him pumped up for a game? Or what's his favorite place to eat? Those things are what I think needs to be shown. And that's going to catapult the NHL forward. If people can relate with these players on a personal level, I think that's really important.
Who does things really well, in your opinion? Who do you see that you're like, they get it as well? As
a league or a team or anything?
As a personality, as someone trying to bring these things to the forefront.
Oh man, I did bring up the Paul Bissonnette thing. He is the guy that really branded himself well, and I think the Arizona Coyotes did a great job with kind of saying, hey, here's the keys to the car, like go drive it, just don't put any scratches on it. Whereas other organizations are more hesitant and a little bit more old school in Toronto.
Completely.
And they don't want to do something like that and mix things up. But Arizona, they have that wiggle room, like hey, we need fans on board here, so do something different and get people on. And I think he got me watching Arizona Coyotes content, which I don't normally watch. So
what reason will we have?
Right.
Arizona's completely the opposite to Toronto. Like you can't get any more different. You're basically the Sahara Desert. Do you remember when Teemu decided to come back for one more year in the league? And Anaheim. So Anaheim is a team that I always looked at in the NHL as being able to have a little bit more elbow room, just to get people involved. And he was sitting at a desk in an office, and the phone's ringing and papers are piling up, and he's like, forget this, I'm going back to hockey. And that was the announcement. That's how they announced that he was coming back for one more year.
That's solid. And they won another award for, was it Bieksa or Kessler? I think it's Bieksa. When he goes undercover kind of, and he's like the ice guy.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you gotta see
It's like
that.
Undercover Boss kind of idea.
Right. They won some kind of award where he's taking care of the ice, and I think it's a preseason game that he's on the ice for and he's not dressed for. And he's going by the visitor team's bench, and he's like pushing at their skates like, excuse me, can you get out of the way here, kind of thing? And they got him mic'd up, and you never know that it's him, right?
Oh, that slays me.
That's some good content. Like I'm talking about this here, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and I'm sitting here today
still talking about it
4 years and 2 weeks later.
The magic of time.
That's great content. I think every team needs to be focused on stuff like that, because that is going to push the NHL forward. And I want the NHL to grow. I want the NLL to grow as well.
Right.
And
of course.
We need to do that stuff too. And I have, the ability to help that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that. But for the NHL, I think that's what needs to really be focused on too.
I think what any major organization, and I don't want to just leave it to the Leafs or anyone, or any one sports league or anything. One of the top rules is know your demographic, right? And so as you kind of move through areas of North America, or popularity of an entity in an area in North America, they're really trying to play to the demographic, right? And who do they know, or who do they have to get, right? So if we use Toronto as an example, the demographic in stadium still is a little more mature, right? You can say that, and there's so many factors that go into that, including pricing, including corporate sponsorships, which, let's not fool ourselves, everyone likes to hate on the business seats, but any organization, sports organization that wants to survive in today's day and age needs the support of businesses in their area, right? 100%. And they are as important to Leafs and Raptors as they are to Anaheim and Arizona. So you need to both play to the demographic you have, but also the demographic you don't have.
Right.
Because you need to reach into that market. And I think there's been a lot of people on the outside in the media and the pundits surrounding the team and surrounding the city that have made comments that the Leafs have lost a generation of followers between unfortunate results on the ice and their own personal focus and targeting, or their business focus and targeting. And that's the Raptors at the right time kind of got to play. And it's funny because they're both under the Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment umbrella, but the whole We the North campaign came at the right time while the team was on the uptick, and you had someone like DeMar DeRozan, who'd been there for a few years, younger guy at the time. There, Terrence Ross was there as second year player, I think, and then a couple more like first year players, and guys you see now like Siakam or Powell or Pirtle is another one on the team, that they kind of came up and just through who they were trying to speak to. Was able to gain that market share, and the Leafs have lost it. So I say all this because it's an incredibly hard balance. Like when we try to think of how are we going to push our YouTube views from a couple hundred to 1,000, they're thinking, how do we keep the lights on in this giant building that needs to stay open 365 days a year? Yeah,
I don't think the Maple Leafs are ever going to lose it. And even though they lost it for a little bit there, and you say they lost a bit of a generation, you see the efforts that have gone in with the whole Stand Witness campaign that is kind of...
Do you like it?
That's what I want to call it, the Stand Witness campaign. Because that's been the past couple of years, right? I do like it. Yeah. I like the direction that they're trying to go. It was brought on by the We the North campaign, which was brilliant.
It was.
That
was flawless.
It was. And
flawless.
They're seeing the rewards today, which is so impressive. The Raptors did a terrific job of it. But I think the Leafs have done a good job, and the team getting younger and being a little bit more relatable to a younger demographic is pretty cool now. I mean, how many Austin Matthews jerseys do you see out now? Tons.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think they've done a good job at bouncing back in the marketing department too.
So I want to put you on the spot here. Okay. Let's have some fun.
Sure.
We've had some fun with timing this whole time and what's coming up this weekend and what happened last weekend. Did you catch the Leafs game just the other night?
I did.
You did?
I did.
So, it's incredible that they made it into the second round.
Blew my mind.
Right? It was after those first couple games in Boston. Woo. Who knew that all it took was, a trip home to reignite the spark of a youthful team.
Well, Freddie Anderson bounces back with that shutout.
Unreal.
Unbelievable. And then they get Nazem Kadri back in the lineup. He scores a hat trick in his first game back after a stupid penalty that got him out of the lineup.
Yep.
So it's good to see this team bounce back, and I'm really excited to see them take on the Tampa Bay Lightning now. And,
exercise those Boston Bruins demons that have been haunting us since 2013.
Yeah, it's in the past now. Took them down. did a sweep 4 games straight after dropping those first two. No big deal.
We're so screwed.
Yeah.
This could go any way.
Yeah.
But we're keeping this in. We have to keep this in because it's going to be hilarious when it comes out.
I hope we look like,
geniuses.
Yeah.
That we look like analysts. We look like proper analysts that just looked back at the last couple
or
weeks.
Like Miss Cleo. Where I'm predicting the future.
Okay.
You got
so
cards
NHL
here?
Flash comes back. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing, we're going to call it Mr. Cleo.
Okay. Mr.
Okay.
Cleo.
And that's going to be you.
Hockey predictions?
You're going to be Mr. Cleo.
Well, I got LA wrong, so that was tough.
To be fair, I think most got LA wrong.
Everyone said LA was going to win? Yeah.
Hands up.
Statistically, I think they had the advantage heading into the postseason. Not in terms of standings and points, but yeah.
I don't know who would have that's a ballsy to pick Las Vegas to move on past the Kings is a ballsy choice. I totally picked the Kings 100% to move on.
I picked the Sharks over the Kings, so I have the Preds and the Sharks in the
Do you really?
Final, yeah. And that's looking pretty good.
It is.
Preds dropped that last game, but
they're going to give 110% in this next one, and the boys are going to come out and go all the tough areas, pucks deep,
to the net,
and do all the right things.
On the ice.
Don Cherry.
Crashing and banging.
Don Cherry, everyone. That's what exactly. You can be the next Don Cherry. We have three. We have NHL Flash, Mr. Cleo, and we're going to call it the next Don.
Yep.
The next hockey Don.
I would love to. I'm trying to get there with the suits, but got a long way to go. So
we get a little more color.
Yeah.
We're going to get a picture. We got to get a picture of this suit going.
Yeah.
We'll put it up. Tyson, it's been a blast, but I like to end things a certain way.
Okay.
I like to, always the same way, because it's very important to me. You know, we discuss a lot doing our own thing and just having that confidence in yourself.
Yep.
and going out and reaching out. And I believe that even starts in even smaller pieces. And that's just being good to herself and taking care of herself in the small ways. Mm-hmm. So I like to say, I'm going to say a line. I'm going to say, everyone, please be good to yourself. And then you finish up with, and eat your vegetables. Because at the basic root of everything, eat health, like do this little small thing, and you're going to live better and sleep better and work better and be smarter. So everyone, from myself, from Dylan, who's producing, from Luca, our editor, from Tyson, of course, please, please, please be good to yourself.
And guzzle your water.
Eat your vegetables. Oh, this is never going to work.
I had to make up my own one. Is eat your vegetables? Okay.